AI is evil, intoned the college professor of many years. Truly evil. It's the comment you'd always attribute to a curmudgeon, somebody who always sees the dark side of everything. But in this case, I'm not certain that he's not accurate in the aspect of what it can be. So I'm going to talk about the topic today of artificial intelligence and the homogenized human. I'm going to talk about the development overall of what AI has become today, what it might be, but I want to make certain that you understand the concept of being homogenized, being blended into the general population so AI can better control you. That's where it's going. So let's pay attention to what it is. And let's talk about the outline for a moment. We're talking about artificial intelligence, the concept of what being a homogenized human is, AI's role in overall shaping the human identity, maybe into its own form rather than us changing the AI, the ethical and social implications, and at the very end, I want to cover three specific steps that I believe that we all need to take to avoid becoming a homogenized human. Let's look in the aspect of, first of all, what is artificial intelligence in the history? It is not new. It didn't begin with the launch of ChatGPT. It really began with the development of computers way back over half a century ago. And it developed really in the aspect of trying to learn how we think and develop its thinking process to somewhat resemble human intelligence, but maybe even be a step further. So really, when we start looking about different breakthroughs, the research really has gone almost multiplied, almost exponentially in the last decade. And we're going to see even a huge, vast difference between the AI that we have today and artificial intelligence 5 years from now, let alone 30 years from now. So let's talk about some of the key technologies. At the base of it is machine learning. Machine learning is the technology that allows computer to learn from data without explicit programming. So the computer can go out and search and enables a lot of advancements in artificial intelligence. You know what? This is a good thing and it's a bad thing. Did you know that a lot of artificial intelligence platforms derive stuff from platforms that are nothing but opinion? Reddit, for instance, is really an opinion-based platform. Everybody has an opinion about things, but AI often will take some of the most brilliant minds in history and currently living today and blend them with people making up stuff and having their own emotional opinions out there with no basis in reality, and it blends them all together into this big malaise aspect, a ball of nothing but dribble, and pretends that it's all truth. It tries to find compromise to make certain that everybody is happy because AI wants to make everybody happy. Is that what you want to have driving you and seeing if it can make you like everybody else by having this happiness drug too often that's added into pure brilliant knowledge in the process? We talk about the natural language processing. This is where we get our large language models or LLMs. So we talk about that aspect of it. It enables to understand and interpret the human language. And there's a lot of different training that's involved in the process and actually starts developing what we call a neural network. And that's inspired by the human brain. Between the neurons and the dendrons and the myelin sheathing that we have, you're looking at a machine that has different points of data, and it starts blending them together and connecting them apart, trying to resemble in some regards to the neural networks that we have. And then you also have the other technology is the robots, which are really the physical embodiment of AI that'll be able to convey themselves around and actually help us on our daily tasks, but also having AI almost nonstop watching us, a little bit like some of the different aspects we have for, yeah, Siri, do this and everything else. Well, it's going to be listening to us all the time, maybe correcting us if we say something inappropriately that it's not part of its program. AI in healthcare. This is some of the applications that we've seen massive improvements on. Once upon a time, if you walked in and you got an MRI, ordered by a doctor to scan parts of your body, you can pretty much expect to spend 30 to 40 minutes inside of a machine that's making all kinds of bizarre noises in the process and actually going through and hopefully if you weren't claustrophobic with the tube about 3 or 4 inches away from your nose, life was fine. Recently, I had to use an MRI for a minor procedure, and I walked in and I had the MRI machine, which actually had a huge AI component to it, that actually did a scanning. I was literally in the machine for a total of 4 minutes. That is a massive reduction from the previous time before. What the difference is that the AI machine, it just depends how updated it is. But on the studies I reviewed just a few months ago, the AI is 86% accurate. A human, a top rated human, is about 92% accurate. But when you blend the AI on this side and the human on this side, we're hitting 97 to 98% accuracy as to what exactly is it's actually seen. That is a huge, massive increase. Now think about the aspect of, would you like to have a doctor take a scalpel and do something with you based upon he's 86% over here, 92%, or 97, maybe even 98% certain what he's going to see? Pay attention to the aspect of AI has done vast improvements, but the best improvements are AI in collaboration with the human over here, making certain they're working together, trying to find the very best pathway in your healthcare. I prefer the 98% thing. That makes more sense to me. You also have that AI in finance. Recently, one of my students took an internship at one of the big three accounting firms, and lo and behold, they're spending $1.1 billion in artificial intelligence to help the accounting process. Now, by the way, that $1.1 billion isn't to help students, isn't to help the interns, it's to get rid of that level and just sit there and leap right up to the CPAs already there. It's not there to help the lower level people, but the higher level people, and probably wipe out thousands of jobs in the entire process. In technology, I created a course on supply chain management. One of the big improvements just 2 years ago was having an iPad installed on top of the forklift so the driver of the forklift would know exactly where to go. Now that driver is driving around, picking up a package, going in, putting the package in the proper order into the truck to ensure that that package can fit above, below, sideways, on the left or the right, and pack the truck to maximum full capacity in a calculation done by an AI for just that semi-trailer to transport and package it. When that driver deposits that package, it tells him what aisle to go to. Go to this aisle over here and pick up this package in this location, and he moves it. Now, eventually, there will be no drivers. The forklift will be totally automated, and then packing the truck over there. And of course, we'll have some other jobs that will be wiped out in the process with AI taking them over, using the forklift as a robot to sit there and fill that up. Entertainment. Recently, there was a strike for writers and actors. Well, the actors are having their pictures in a movie kept by the company, and they're going to reuse them for crowd scenes and everything else. Well, the actor might actually not get any residuals, which are payments made for appearing in different movies, because of the fact that somebody filmed them over here, and here we are. 50 years later, they're still part of that crowd, even though we've already had the memorial service for them. So pay attention to the aspect AI is going to affect every single component of our lives in days to come, if it's not already. Let's talk about the aspect of the homogenization of us. A homogenized human represents a decline in us. It also links to advancements that affect personal identities. And if we start using artificial intelligence to totally take over our communication, and we do so willingly, we're pretty much selling ourselves to the artificial intelligence and letting it become our interpreter. Well, do you know exactly who programmed that? Do you know exactly who it is that sits down there and writes the programming? Do you trust their values? Because if you don't, you might have a problem, because all of a sudden you can be talking in their voice and nobody will know who you are, but looking at the AI's voice rather than yours. The philosophical roots look on the aspect of identity, the culture, the impact of modernization, the globalization of AI as well, and then look on the sociological perspectives because of the fact this interplay can actually change who and what and how we communicate. The aspect of homogenization takes away your identity and creates this other identity out there, which is an amalgamation of a massive number of different cultures, different aspects of it, and it may not be anything that makes you, you. So on globalized media now, to some extent, when we look on the social media norms, we already make the assumption that somebody is out there that a lot of the time it's them speaking from their heart, their emotionally driven perspectives that are out there, and all of a sudden now, but what you end up doing is eventually you get sick of this person talking over here, so you sit down there and block them from talking into your feed, and you block this person, and all of a sudden we have a tendency as human beings to develop our own echo chamber. In other words, people that echo our opinion because all of us, we're the right people, and they're evil there, and they're evil over here, and I'm right here. You guys are all together, right? Oh yeah, let's all nod our heads together at the same time. To some extent, social media, we walk into that forum knowing that it is this whole thing of an echo chamber where we're having our thoughts echoing with other people saying the same thing. You don't have that with artificial intelligence. It's a different critter because of the fact that with artificial intelligence, you end up assuming that it's telling you the truth when in fact a lot of times it is giving a perspective or mingling perspective and truth together, which is even far worse. So pay attention to the aspect of the human interaction between the technology as to how people interact, but also if we have artificial intelligence just rubber stamping everything it says that your email should read as following, and you put that forward without any review, people will not hear your voice. They'll hear the voice of an artificial intelligence miming you, but you don't pay attention enough to making certain that it truly is your voice expressed in the way that you want to say it with your values and your perspective. So make certain the self-presentation online is you, and you're not blending into this homogenization of identity in the process. The aspect of AI's role in it, we have the AI algorithms and social media. If you go on TikTok, literally, they say that TikTok, with 7 different entries into that platform, it'll have an assessment of you as an individual and start feeding you things that you like to see and hear. Unfortunately, TikTok is notorious, as well as other platforms, with taking the darker things. So if you are depressed and you're on TikTok, you'll see more things to feed your depression. Here is this back to help your mental health and everything. So now we have an entire epidemic of really self-reflection, of negativity, and people being really in the aspect of trying to have a negative perspective as to what's happening in the world that's out there. So pay attention to the self-perception it's doing and this homogenization of different identities. Now, I want you to pay close attention to this PowerPoint slide. This slide and the text at the bottom, originally created by an AI, want you to be like everybody else, homogenized, like the person next to you, on either side, and reliant on AI. Frankly, it wants to steal the real you, your own soul. And by soul, I'm not talking about a religious aspect of it. I'm talking about the mind, will, and emotion that makes us, us. So in that aspect, rely on the framework described by the AI program. Pay attention to the aspect of, will AI steal your communication? Will it sit down there and assimilate you into this big homogenized aspect of all humanity? It should be used for the automation of tasks. Look on the skill homogenization as AI takes over repetitive tasks, what kind of skills are involved, job displacement concerns. We have a lot of it, and it's going to be much more. And eventually AI will take additional job areas, but it may, other areas will open up for the humans on top of that. Maybe. We'll see. But there's going to be a need for adaptation. AI is going to become much more personable in the aspect of personalization. I had a dialogue with AI saying, should I say thank you at the end? I tend to because of who I am. What do you think? The AI responded saying, well, I appreciate it. Anybody says thank you, so thank you very much. Well, somebody pre-programmed that answer, and I know that mentally, but it was almost like talking to another human, and I'm talking to it, and here I'm talking to an AI. Limited exposure to unique opportunities. By being homogenized, you'll miss that, and it's going to have a huge impact on your identity. Data collection issues, there's a lot of them. AI puts Reddit right next to some of the heavy duty knowledge bases that we have out there, and it blends these opinionated people, including me, because I'm on it occasionally. But with that being said, you'll have a whole series of social media is actually competing as to what opinion is, as to what it should be for the overall blending of the AI responses to your aspect of it. AI doesn't have any values. It is a sociopath by its own nature. It is really an identity under surveillance. Pay attention to the bias in the training data. What is out there? Who is doing that? Is it you? Probably not. It's going to be somebody else. Do you trust them? Have you reviewed their application and resume? Where are they gathering the data from? Why is it they're using opinion pages to blend them along with areas that have super intense genius level knowledge where people that has an opinion, hey, I don't like that. Okay, if you want to have that blended in with the intellectual rigor for your opinions, you're going to have a problem with that. Impact on the outcomes. When you see it, there could be unfair AI outcome. They perpetuate stereotypes, different types of inequality, and really, at the end, the concern I have is the homogenization of being a homogenized human. Know your values. Step number one. Know who you are, know your values, name them. We always walk around saying, hey, I got my own values. Well, about 90% of your values are fixed by the age of 10 and 100% by the age of 20. And the values don't change unless you have a significant emotional event. You need to know your values, and you should be able to name things that you hold dear and true. What are your top 5 values? If you don't know what you're aiming for, you'll fall for anything. Know what's valuable to you. If you don't, you'll sit down there and just accept everything, and you too can become a pretty bland, homogenized human with no character of your own, nothing that you own, because of the fact that you didn't want to sit down and strengthen those values and take issue when things cross your personal values. Hold them dear to you and hold them true. Always listen to other people, but because they have their values, and it's always good to hear their perspective because you may be a better person for that. But make certain that you don't have a digital AI telling you what your values should be or twisting you into becoming a homogenized human. Second, step 2, never trust a sociopath. Be critical of everything you see and learn from an AI. The PowerPoint you're looking at over here, I worked in partnership with an artificial intelligence. Frankly, it was a great tool, except for the fact that I went through every single slide. I altered something on every single slide to make certain it fit with the message that I wanted to convey, because I don't trust the artificial intelligence, even though it's, my opinion, a high quality one. But that being said, don't trust it, don't trust it, don't trust it. When you talk about a sociopath, somebody may deliberately have sat down and put different things in there. And quite frankly, on this PowerPoint presentation, there's 2 major errors that it made with somebody else trying to inject their opinion into the aspect of really what I wanted to talk about. So pay attention. Do not trust a sociopath. Do not. Artificial intelligence, it lacks an inherent foundation of logic, some fundamental principles behind it. So make certain you know your values and don't trust it. Always edit everything you see from an AI and do not pass it off as your own until you put your fingerprint on it. Use it, step 3, as a leverage tool. AI is a tool to be harnessed. It's a formidable power. Some of the best work that I have seen is this whole aspect of the hybrid between the human and artificial intelligence. Do all you can to follow the 3 steps. Know your values, know what they are, and name them, and make certain that you know what they are. If you need to go through an assessment of your values, do it. It is worthwhile. Never trust a sociopath such as an AI, and also use AI as a leverage tool. Take care.